is it the fourth Wednesday?
Yeah.
It has the whole international governor's going to be on it, the whole 9 yards. So that'll give us a chance, an opportunity to talk about, membership and where we need to go and what we're doing today in the, for the last quarter, which is the quarter of success, right?
Well, I had a chance to talk about a little bit about our WOW at the breakfast meeting with the current president and president-to-be people. We were talking about it, and so I blew our horn.
Yeah, good. I know, like I said, Denise won't be on here, so it'd be interesting to see how that's going. I know that every time that's been introduced and every time anybody has participated, and we'll just kind of get started, I think.
Okay.
So, and if people join in, it'll be fine. But, I appreciate all the hard work that you guys are putting in. Sometimes it may not seem like a lot, but it really does, and it means a lot. And if we can keep, one or two or three people motivated and do the right thing, from my perspective, it's always worthwhile. So I think, it's an interesting time of year as we get into the fourth quarter. You see things and people kind of kick back a little bit and they take it easy. And I'm hoping that maybe us as a group, maybe we can figure out something. They implemented the $15, fee that they, internationally implemented that process, and Mark's happy with it from a standpoint that it's having some difference in membership, and we've got our traditional notes and programs and recordings and distributions that are going out to most all the presidents on a once a month, twice a month type of deal. And they're talking about motivation and why we need to be members and stuff. So I was hoping that maybe in the next, maybe we could think about some kind of program in the last quarter here. I mean, we've already got the success going and the ribbon program and the WOW program and people visiting the clubs and those types of things. But, maybe there's something that we could come up with that might catch somebody and help to bring in at the last minute. I mean, knowing that we can't do financial rewards or financial adjustments is one thing, and then trying to motivate people another way. But we've had a couple of ideas and suggestions that we put in, which I'm real proud of that we came up with, but they got shot down. So, that's just part of the way these things work. For one reason or another, we just kind of regroup and go on. And, as a membership group, being responsible for trying to keep everybody motivated a little bit, I'm hoping maybe we can either come up with something that might be a program, or come up with some individual little write-ups that we feel will touch somebody's heart and soul from either a feeling standpoint or motivational standpoint. So, I need our group to just kind of put our heads together, see if there's something that we might be able to do and we've already started, I guess, the last quarter, but see if there's something that we can do in a very short period that we could reach out to the presidents and get them pretty well motivated. Now, we did send part of the group came up with a referral program suggestion that talked about, if you want to encourage word of mouth, and then the best word of mouth is through your members. And one way to do that is with a member referral program. And so we got a write up on that Stephanie has in her hands, and hopefully that'll get distributed out to all the presidents. And one would say that, maybe everybody's got that referral program, but I think we find that sometimes we lose track of those things and we just never get around to it. So that recommendation is on the board with a small write-up that's going out to all the presidents and hopefully in Stephanie's distribution. So that's out there. And of course I was hoping on this collection of the defining moments, testimonials that we had in that magic computer, that we'd be able to use that from two perspectives. One being in some some videos where we actually put the individual members out there in front of the membership. And of course, every one of those went with it. As I say, I got smarter and I learned that, maybe I should back my system up and put it to hard drives. That's all the good stuff that came out of it. So, but I'll never be able to replace those. But there's got to be something that we can maybe think about or do that can put us, put us over the edge. Just give you a few statistics. Right now, we're down as a district. We're down to minus 240 or 2,460 members down, and that's a significant target. But I looked at the numbers. 50% of all the districts are only down about 50 members, and that's not too bad when you think about it from that perspective. Is that we're only down about 50 members in half of the district. So that's really a positive thing. So, if we can touch the presidents and get them thinking and maybe turn a light bulb on for a little bit in the last quarter, we can have a significant drive. So I thought that was really interesting when I looked at those numbers. But, if there's something that we can think of, and I'm asking each of us that's on the call tonight, and I'll send out a note to everybody to see if they can come up with an idea, or it could be a video idea of what type of shape we're in, and we really need this to grow. And in order for us to, I hate to stay on the talk about the negative side, but if we don't, I don't know how many years that our international program has. So that's kind of the pessimistic side of it. But I like to stay on the more positive side and things that we can do. Anybody got any observations about that?
Yeah, I have a couple things. Let me pull my spreadsheet back up. So I am that guy that I actually run to the Optimist webpage, and I made a spreadsheet out for East Missouri, because I'm the East Missouri membership chair, for the last 10 years. And I went by month, how many additions we had, how many deletions we had each month, and then I put it in a spreadsheet so I could figure out, when was our hot months, when was our cold months. And one of the things that I know that's coming up, and if you guys' districts, and I'm guessing they are anything like mine, September is, especially the last 2 weeks of September. I almost called it the culling. It's like there's a mass exodus for the door. And it's one of the things I had talked to our district about, back in first quarter, because I didn't want this to come here. I wanted to be able to pepper them with it all year and let them know that, especially in COVID times, if you have not talked to somebody and you all of a sudden in your club, the first conversation you're going to have with them is, hey, it's the end of the year, pay me money. Then I not to be rude, but I don't blame them for wanting to leave. So we need to get the word out that, hey, you know what? If you have not been doing it, and you should have been doing it, we can't, I guess, put it that way. Maybe clean that up a little bit better. But let's start. We got to have those conversations, and don't make that first conversation be "give me money," or just an email. I said, because we've had some folks do that. They send 3 emails in 3 weeks, the last 3 weeks, and say, well, they don't want to be Optimist members no more. Like, okay, well, why did they sell you that? They didn't pay their bill. But why did they say they didn't pay the bill? Did you talk to them? No, I sent them 3 emails. We need to get back to talking. So that's the first thing I think we need to, put out there somehow, some way, is just to get somebody with some clout to say, hey, get out there and start talking to people. Even if it's, how you're doing, how's the dog, how's the kids, whatever, just that first conversation is not pay me money. That will not go well. And then looking at this other spreadsheet, pull it up.
Quick question with that, Mikey. Do you see, one of my questions is, I know the same thing happens. Do you see an uptick then back in October, or when does your next uptick come up? I know all clubs do their billing differently. It's part of what it is. For example, both my clubs, we pay everything up front, right? And I know it's not easy. I wish, we could do that, but I just wondered where you lose some people.
Well, I can
Or-
tell you. So, October is a decent month for us.
Okay,
On average, we add 17 in October and we lose 18. So we're -1 in October. I have a feeling, though, to be honest, if I were to look through these deeper, see, you have to kind of throw COVID in on this, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
COVID really, for example, last November, December, we had 6 additions. Well, that's because we couldn't get there. Nobody was meeting. We couldn't get out, so when
Right.
nobody was meeting. But if you were to go through the, so that was 6. But those 2 months on average is usually 25. So you can, October. So the way mine looks is my spreadsheet's looking at September is it's a bloodbath in September. And from what I remember, just going through there and putting those things in, it's those last 2 weeks. It is those last 2 weeks, just then December's the next one, which kind of makes sense. It's the new administrations that didn't get cleaned up before they took it, so now they're going to take it upon themselves to clean it up right before second quarter. Then after that, everything kind of we're kind of on that. For us, we're kind of on that up. This is our good period, but in August kind of usually levels out, and then we hit September.
Okay.
So,
Michael, you want
your
to,
question?
Yes, thanks.
yeah, Michael, you want to take a stab at maybe a reality distribution, couple paragraphs or something that we might be able to, because you kind of tell it like it is, and then you soften it up a little bit. I mean, you want to take a stab at maybe a short distribution article that we can get out to the presidents, that talks about what you're saying, talks about, there are those ups and downs, and we need to get out the door. I always call it get out from behind the table and start engaging people. But I mean,
Yeah.
if we're going to do it today, if we're going to do it in the next 3 months, it's gonna be done by not some super duper marketing campaign. It's going to be what I think is through the old word of mouth process, and engaging the presidents and getting them to understand. Not that they don't understand, but maybe there's a way that we can tell them. If you want to take a
Yeah.
stab at something like that, I think it'd be great, because I like the way you say things, and it don't hurt that bad.
No, it's no, I agree though. I think this committee, and I know I've been kind of in and out. I was added late, and then I was even told, well, get there when you can, and I probably have not gotten here as much. But I know that you guys have and excuse my language, but I know you guys have worked your ass off trying to really, really push and push and rack your brains. And I think we're kind of at that point now where I agree with you, Russ. To put it not so kindly, people just need to get out there and start doing the work.
Yeah.
They've been given the tools. It's time to start swinging the hammers and turning the screen. I mean, that's kind of what it boils down to.
Yeah, and there's a way to say that. I'm not quite as elegant, needless to say, sometimes. And Nick, I'd ask Nick, but boy, he's got a big hammer when he does it.
But well, just listening to Mike talk and you talk or whatever, though, what if we came up with kind of a script or kind of a how-to where we sent to the club, we sent it out to the club president, say, okay, and it's exactly right. And the reason I'm saying this is that this last year, I wrote a letter to, and I think it would probably be a little bit too heavy-handed for what we're talking about here, but I actually wrote a letter to all of my members, because we wanted to clean up our roles, and we had basically stopped invoicing for dues for a while because of the pandemic. Anyway, but I wrote them a letter to every one of our members, a personal letter from the president, and it said, well, it was an email, and it went out in letter form, but what it said was, hey, really appreciate your support of our club, and blah, 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 all these different kind of things. and I asked them if they wanted to, we wanted them to continue and whatever, but that I wanted to know whether they wanted to continue with the club or not, because we needed them to pay their dues, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. Really tried to think out the letter, and so that it wouldn't be too heavy hammered. But the fact of the matter is, we only lost one member, and the member we lost, he had some health problem or whatever, and decided to no longer, continue on with our club. But everybody went back to paying their dues, and it really went over really well. So maybe if we came up with something that we could actually provide to the president, because we can't call everybody, but maybe we could sometimes, the president didn't exactly know what to say or whatever. What if we put together some kind of a script, so to speak, of how to approach their members that are behind on their dues, or they haven't heard from in a while or whatever, and just said, and really make this a campaign. Our campaign between now and the end of the year is to strengthen our membership. And, of course, we want people to recruit members, but at the same time, we want to find out what's going on with our existing membership. And sometimes people, well, as a matter of fact, we actually had a member say, look, I haven't got any invoices. Somehow we had the wrong information on him. So and he's ready to pay back, pay up his dues. But we thought, well, he's not paying. Well, he wasn't getting the information.
Yeah. Nick, was that something that you had already drafted, or something that we could, pull out?
Well, I mean, I don't know if it would, yes, I could look it up and find it, but like I said, I don't know that it would be appropriate exactly for this, but that's exactly what we did. It was a letter that went out. A matter of fact, our secretary treasurer sent the letter out with my name on it, as the president, and he made sure it got mailed out to everyone. But I can look it up, and we can. Well, matter of fact, while we're talking, if everybody else wants to talk, I'll look it up and see if I can find it right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
well,
I know
think
that.
this is a good idea, Russell. I don't mean to. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
So here's the thing that's really, I believe, is important, and what I did for my year and during my governor is exactly what you're saying. But you know what? The other piece is, people need to make phone calls. Maybe they send a postcard. Maybe they send a letter. Maybe an email. Because those kind of personal touches are important. And perhaps in this letter, this script, also say, you know what, look at what we've accomplished over this last year. Look at the success of who we are. I mean, I know we don't want a big, long, verbose letter. We want short, sweet bullet points. I know during my presidency, I had 125 members, and I sent postcards out to everybody. Because people like them, and there's always postcards around, but you're right. It's how do we become more engaged with our members? And as president, governor, whatever that position of leadership is stepping up and taking it on that extra piece. I know we've had a couple members say, no one's called me, and, and so I feel bad in one of my clubs. And so it's how do we, I think we've talked about this to clubs and to presidents, I'm hoping maybe, like you said, we can give a bullet point. Here's some ideas, look at the stats, look at what we have done and the fellowship of what this organization brings to us and why we are where we are now, because we're optimists and where we want to keep moving on to the future.
You know where I'm getting ready to go, right, Diane? You know what I'm getting ready to ask.
I'm
You
about
know
to
that,
mute
right?
you. I'm going to mute you.
But this is real. This is where, if Michael put something together and Nick's got something and you got something and I got a few thoughts and I see Shane's got his hand up, maybe between the 3, 4, 5 of us and the rest of the team, maybe there's some distributions that we can put out there and encourage, the word of mouth marketing and think about, start off with the positives and end up with the positives, right? So why don't you give that a thought, and if we could spend a week, trying to put something together like that, I think that'd be great. We got I have the ability of getting everything out to the presidents. It takes me about a week to do it, so I can get it there. And we've seen some good responses back on the WOW programs and the podcast and some of the videos and stuff. So you know, I know that these guys are getting the information and they're feeling good about it. But there is a point though. We really have been kind of soft selling and under the direction of the organization, kind of soft sell and don't talk membership and adding more members and doing this type of stuff. And I think we've done a good job of that. But at some point, and you know, you got to say, guys, we need new members, and we just got to figure out how to say that eloquently. Shane, what you got? And then we'll go to Michael. You had a honeymoon in Atlanta.
I know, right? Well, that was our pre-honeymoon. Now we're going to take a post one in October after all this stress. Anyways, when I came on, I heard Mike talking about, you know, adding members and how they do stuff. And if I'm wrong, get our membership engaged and find new members. Is that what we're kind of focusing on right now?
Yes.
Okay, so maybe this is something we could turn in, because I know I talked to Nick, and I think Russ and I have talked about this. And Mike, maybe you and I could put our heads together and we could launch something from our membership team. We can, and what I had when I was president was I had the Find Your Niche program. And that's the next, I went home and I sat down. I thought, what do I want to do to get more people engaged? And I wrote this speech and I called my program that I launched in my club the Find Your Niche program. And I didn't care what you did in our organization. I didn't care if you did childhood cancer golf tournament, if you did our oratorical somehow, I didn't care what it was. If you did something, I just wanted you to try one new thing or do one more shift at what we were doing, like at our tree lot or our striping. And I said, if you're something that you're passionate about that we're not doing, whether you want to go to an elementary school and read to kids, or you want to do something else, you come to me and we'll find a way to make it work. Find something that's important to you to help the kids of our community. And it really got our club fired up because people got excited again, because then I said, well, we could do this project. And I said, it didn't cost much to go do some of the stuff. But I think if you focus on the strengths of what your members and put it kind of in their court and say, what are you passionate about? What do you want to do? It gives people a little more oomph to get that. Well, if it's their baby, their project, they have a little bit more, you know, incentive to go out and do something. So
I love your logo or your tagline. I think it's a really good idea, and how to incorporate all of what we're talking about.
And like I said, it got people thinking, you know, what they were passionate about and what they wanted to do, and it makes the choice theirs, which makes them want to go do it more. And I think that would be a great program that we could launch, just to say, we don't care what you do in optimism as long as you find your niche. Because, you know, it didn't matter. Like I said, I didn't care what they did. I said, if you didn't like working the tree lot, well, try striping. If you don't like striping, do something with the Cascade of Talent, which is our talent show. If you don't like that, there was so much that we were doing, and there was so many, just so much stuff going on, that I just think that if we got, like I said, you kind of put the ball in their court and make them think, it'll get just a lot more outreach in there. And then they could tell their friends, well, God, you're not going to believe what I did this week when I was at an elementary school doing this, and the kids were so happy, and it just made me feel so good. And it might entice that person to come in and check out what we're doing.
So with that, could we put together some kind of, I know we don't have the money for the awards, but I'm wondering if the districts do, because I know a lot of them had to go to, had to do virtual conferences, at least one this year. So they might have some money in their budgets. But here's my thought is, can we do something where the governor, we talk to the governors and we say, hey, look, put this out to your presidents through your membership chair, your lieutenant governors, however you're going to
distribute.
I mean, potato.
Yeah, exactly.
Potato. But we put out something where we say, hey, look, the governor on where are we at? We're on the 12th. The governor on August 1st, or whatever. We'll put it there. So the governor is going to go down the roster for the entire district and randomly pull 5 names off that district out of that roster, and he's going to call, or she is going to call that person. And if that person has heard from their president as far as, or from their board of directors, or however, because obviously some of these clubs, you got 100, a president can't call 100 people. That's just, but they might have a board of directors thing and say, hey, you take 10, and you take 10, and you take, or however, whatever. I think we don't need to get too far into the weeds as far as the details and let them take some ownership of how they're going to do it. But anyway, get it to where, and I like the whole "what's your niche" thing, or
find your niche.
Yeah, something to do with the governor's going to be calling 5 random people and asking them, or and I don't know, like I said, it's all in the cloud, but it's not there yet. But some kind of thing where basically we're pushing the presidents to talk to their people and get something out there, but then we're following it up with the governors randomly, and not talking just to their lieutenant governors or district chairs or whatever. They're actually talking to members. Is what I'm saying making any sense whatsoever?
Yeah.
Back off that, Mike. What if you had, like you said, had the governor randomly call 5 people or 10 people or whatever it was in their district,
right,
and say, what's your favorite project that you do as an optimist in your club?
Mm-hmm.
And just say, do you have any idea? And if they, if it's something that they've done in the past, say, well, do you have any ideas how to make that project better? Or if you haven't found one yet, is there something that myself and your president could bring to make, your talents more dialed in is not the right word, but, use your talents more to make that project what they're passionate about a reality?
The big meeting with the governors and the membership, district membership people is Wednesday, the 28th at 7:30 Eastern time. And y'all should be on the distribution for that. Should have got that invite today.
Mm-hmm.
And I've already got multiple governors signing up for that. So maybe, just maybe, Michael and Shane, are you still there? You froze, Michael. So
I'm here.
Okay. Looking like Michael and Shane. If I think it's a good idea. Shane, you thought of it. Maybe me and Michael could get together and
Mm-hmm.
put something together. Well, why don't y'all see what y'all can put together? And believe me, I mean, what we come up with is always a recommendation. And these governors and these membership committees, the guys may be struggling for an idea, but if we could just click something off in the last 30, 40, 60, 90 days, we're doing our job. So if Shane, you still there, right?
No, you lost him.
We lost Shane. Okay. So Michael, you take this and get hold of Shane because he was wanting to talk with you.
Yeah.
And maybe we can come up with something like, find your niche. When we talk on the 28th, we'll throw the ball in your court. Let's see if he's trying to get back in.
Yeah, and one of the things I might be thinking of that they might be able to use as a carrot is those 5 people. Maybe they can afford to give them a free registration to their district convention.
Yeah, I think the governors have a lot more free reign and discretion at their disposal than certainly we do. Which is kind of a shame. But
Exactly.
But I know that our governor, who's already said he's going to be on there, Albert Still, I think he would, if we got a straw man idea and a recommendation from us, then he'll probably run with it. And I think it could be quite valuable to us.
What is exactly the objective here? What are we doing?
I think the objective really is to give the governors and the membership chair people any ideas and suggestions to help them in the last quarter to be able to grow membership without getting out the whip and stuff. And there's Shane back, so let me get him in here.
Now, we'll tell you this, we were doing in East Missouri, and we started this back, we announced this back, I guess, in our 3rd quarter conference is because we did have extra money in our budget. And we decided to, we have a rebate program right now that's running. It started back in March, no, May, started in May, started back in May 1st, where what we do is for every person, every member that gets brought in from now until our last day of our convention, that club's going to get a $13 rebate. $13 is because that's what we pay per year for our district. So you bring a new member in, you get, the club's going to get $13 because we kind of realized through our membership committee that we couldn't tell them to give it to the sponsor, but we could suggest that they should give that to that person who's actually going out and, you know, beating the bushes and pounding the pavement and actually doing the work. So they get $13 per member. And the way we've done it, this is just the way we've done it, is that's up to the first 3 members. So the first 3 members that you bring in, it's $39 back to your club. Now at the 4th one, we called that one like the magic one, that number jumped up to $15. And then we said it jumped up to $15 to all of them. So you went from 39 to 60. That being said, when we finally got the word out, we had a tough time with, I guess, some of our lieutenant governors understanding whatever, but we finally just, we circumvented that, and I sent a video message out to everybody that week, which was last week. That week we had 8 people join like that within the first half of the week. So if we can do something like that, we're actually rewarding the sponsor of that. That might be something to do. And again, that's going to have to work district to district. East Missouri had the money. I don't know about other districts.
Yeah, well, I think that becomes a recommendation, for the Wednesday, the 28th. Shane, and by the way, while you were gone, it was nice of you to volunteer to speak with Michael here and come up with some recommendations for our Wednesday, the 28th meeting at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time that the governors and membership chairs across the country are on. So I just wanted to thank you for that, because he did kind of say something like, Michael, then he just kind of, well, I can work with Michael. I'm sure that's what he said. If he didn't, he owns it now.
Yeah. Sorry, my phone, my phone overheated on my way home here. So, no, I think that's a good idea. I guess my whole thing was, I think, like I said, if you put the ball in the member's lap and say, what's important to you, it just makes it that much more that they kind of take it and can run with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think while you were gone, we all agreed it was a good idea. So, it's find your niche and act on it, right? I mean, we just don't want you to find it in the last 90 days. We want you to act on it. So
yeah. Well, and I think if we continue this into next year, that if you just give people the option, because, I think and especially in our club, we're really good about recruiting members, but we're really terrible at, keeping them engaged. And then that was one of my selling points that I wanted to work on with when I was president, was to keep people, engaged throughout the whole year.
Yeah. So you're comfortable working with Michael to come up with some recommendations and suggestions. Well, Nick, did we answer your question? And you asked what our
I guess I mean you're wanting to, I guess, rally the membership. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think that's really I hate to call it last ditch effort, but sometimes.
Well, that's always, and this is the time we need to do it, because right. And I think and I think going to the governors and saying, okay, here's a tool or some tools you can use, and letting them, of course, if they want to use them, fine. They might just take them and use it exactly as it's been developed, or they may give them an idea and they modify it. The whole idea is making a big push to not only, well, see, I guess finding your niche to me is kind of a program aimed toward the existing member to get them more engaged in what the club is doing, because the club is actually reaching out to them and saying, okay, what do you want to do, what do you like to do, and we'll try to make a place for you, or we'll make a place for you. And the other side, with the person that's being recruited to say, okay, well, if I come into this club, you know, I want to help kids, I want to do whatever, but this is the area I'd like to work in, and I can work in that particular area. I mean, it's like the example you know, and I may have told you guys earlier in the year. It was a club in the Calgary Club up in Canada, and I was talking to the president one because we were doing where we were actually the board of directors was of Optimist International, and that's how. Well, matter of fact, that's how Shane and I met, because I was assigned to his club. To call him. We called these people, and the only thing that we did was to thank them for stepping up and taking on the challenge of being the leader of the club, the president, and also asked them how we could help them. We asked them for nothing. We didn't ask them to recruit members. We didn't ask anything. The idea was to say, hey, how can we as a board of directors, Optimist International, help you or whatever? Anyway, the discussion I had with the president of the Calgary Club, he used an example that they recruited 2 members, and they always ask, what would you like to do? What is your interest? And these 2 individuals said, well, we'd like to work with horses. That's where our interest is. He said, well, at the time, they did not have any projects that dealt with horses. But he said, let's go and look in the community, and let's see what's out there. Well, they found a group that does horse therapy with children. And so they actually formed a relationship with that group. And so these 2 new volunteers, which remember the Calgary Club, part of their service is going and working with these children and this horse therapy. So I thought, man, that's a great idea, because what he was doing was actually finding a place for those members, because they come in and they're interested in working with horses or whatever they're working with or whatever. You know, they're liable to drift away at some point because their interest is not there. So the idea of clubs really taking the time to find out where a member, as Shane said, the niche. And maybe that's, as I said, that's the campaign we launch. We actually launch it as a campaign and try to get it prepared so that we can present it to these governors so they can take and run with it. But I mean, I think that's a great idea, and it would work both ways. It works for the individual who is already a member, because we're saying, okay, find your niche. It's also working with a new member coming in that our club is going to find a place for you.
That's right. That's what done it. That's your niche, is when you call, governor calls them and says, okay, what's your niche, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And they say, okay, well, it's like you're saying, it's horses. Okay, great. Is there anybody in your community that can help you put together a program like that? And all of a sudden, like you're saying, I mean, that's beautiful, because now they're getting their juices, pushed up, but they're also out there serving the community, which is, I think, is pretty much what we're supposed to do anyway.
Right.
But you're also actively looking for somebody, and it's like almost like there's a built-in job before you've even pulled the paper out and said, hey, sign here.
See,
that's awesome.
The other thing is, see, the Calgary Club, the thing I loved about what they did is they have, and the president said, we have projects that we do, like oratorical and things like that are our projects. Then we also reach out into the community and we work with other organizations, meaning it doesn't have to be your project. It doesn't have to be your program, but it provides your member with what they're coming looking for. And my big thing, and Russ has heard me say this hundreds and hundreds of times, is what we have to do as an organization, and whether it's a club level, district level, whatever level is that, we have to answer the question that everybody is asking: what's in it for me? Every one of you on this Zoom call here has you came looking for something. Now, it might be leadership position, it might be to become a better person, it may be to actually work and do hands-on with kids. Whatever it is, we have to be able to answer that question. And I think we don't do that very well sometimes. And that's why the people walk out the door. I mean, when I was preparing to be president of Optimist International, I did a bunch of research. And one of the 2 things that said that reason people leave volunteer situations, and that's all volunteers, and that's not just Optimist and Rotary and whatever, but all kinds of organizations. And the two reasons, the main reasons that people leave is, number one, they don't consider themselves valued as a, and they don't consider the work that they do is valued. And I think that when you really think about it, sometimes and I know I've done that in my club. We assume old Nick, we assume old Mike, and sometimes even what we are looking for changes. We're interested in doing something else. And so if we don't provide that, then that individual slowly drifts away, and or they join the club and they look around and we sold them a bill of goods. We said, oh man, come on, we are helping children, we're doing all this kind of stuff. They come and we don't provide the goods. So I think we're onto something here. If we could come up with a campaign, and that's what we're doing. We clubs have got to become more proactive in making a place for their members. It's not just, hey, we're all about kids, come join us, pay your dues, we'll let you work on a few projects. I think people, I know for myself, and I'm fortunate because I'm at a different level now. So, bumps in the road like that doesn't affect me as much as it might have when I first came in as a member. But when you come in as a new member, you're looking for something, and if you don't get it, you're going to go somewhere else.
Yeah, well, I think what we're talking about would be is good information for Michael and Shane when they get developed, because I think this is a good great dialogue, and every time we get on this thing, I think we come up with great stuff, and great things come from it, and it's you just never know what's going to happen. But if we can give recommendations on this meeting on the 28th, and we can give them a straw man of an idea, and that they have the opportunity to act on it or not, and then we follow up with good positive information like what the article that Diane and you guys are going to be putting together, and some of the follow information and videos we got. I think we have a good opportunity to be able to change now. If we can just put in front of the governors to reality that this is what we're offering, a suggestion that you can hopefully make a difference in the last 90 days, and if they do, that's great. But like you said, the districts have a little more financial availability for rewards than the international side does. So make that recommendation, Michael and Shane, when we present it, and say, you have the latitude to give them free conference and stuff. So Shane, you got your hand up, and then we'll get back to Nick.
What day is that again? July 28th at what time?
July 28th, 7:30 Eastern time.
So basically, you've got 2 weeks to put this together. Approximately.
Right. And that's not long for you two guys.
No.
Diane, if you want to help them, feel free.
I can tell you.
You know what? I've got something spinning around in my head. I thought I would start writing the article about reaching out with the governors and the presidents regarding emails. And if I can put that together and send it to you in the next 2 days and let you guys all review and say, no, it looks like crap, or no, you're the best. You're the
best. We'll just say you're the best up front. That way, when we say, what in the world was she thinking?
I will say this. Those articles, those research that President Nick did, I read them for school. They're not page turners. Social psychologists are brilliant, but they are not the greatest writers. But what he's talking about is, it is outstanding. It's something like 87, it's high 80%. If people leave volunteer organizations because of the lack of identity, they don't feel like they have an identity inside the organization. They don't feel like they've been brought in. And that's also, it's kind of conversely, it's kind of why it's so hard for us to move people out of positions. Well, I'm the bingo guy. I don't want to not be the bingo guy anymore. I don't want somebody else to be the bingo guy. That's me. It's that. So if we could turn that into Shane, something kind of like a who are you? What's your identity? I don't know, something there. But President Nick's 187% right.
Yeah, I got, when you're talking stats, I got one more stat here I wanted to mention, And it has to do with the decision to, does anybody know Richard Tipton? He's in the waiting room, and I know he's not part of this core team, and I didn't want to admit somebody in here. I guess I'm probably going to hurt his feelings by not letting him in, whoever he is, but maybe he's thinking he's want to be on the 28th one. But anyway, 40% of the volunteers say they took the necessary steps to become involved themselves. It means 40% of the people that come out to volunteer do all the legwork, groundwork, and everything it takes to join a volunteer organization. And then it talked about another 44% reported that the only reason why they started volunteering, the majority of the time, was because people within the organization asked them to. So, I mean, that's a pretty interesting stat. So it's saying 40% come to us on their own by finding us, and 44% are referred to by somebody in a club. So that's, that says a lot. That says a lot. So just something to play with. Somebody had their hand up or was talking.
Well, I just think that, like I said, if you can quote, especially this last 90 days, just keeping the membership involved, but also, like Nick was saying, you can lead off of this, and it'll take that member might be talking about what they did at the horse complex, and somebody goes, well, how'd you get involved with that? Well, man, I joined this Optimist club. You should come help me do this. And then there you go. They have a member, and before that, it just escalates from there.
So I'm recording this, as you guys see. So I'm going to go ahead and send, when we get done, I'm going to send this out to all of our team, and I'm going to ask them, if they want to, provide Shane and Michael some input to give you guys a call. I guess that's okay, right?
Yeah, And if they don't get a hold of me, just leave a message, because I'm probably doing wedding stuff this week for sure.
The other thing about, if this is a statistic from, I don't know when, that if you find a busy person like all of us, we've all got a million irons in the fire. We're just all doers or volunteers. And it's just what it is. Like, people ask me, and I've got to learn to say no, and I don't know the word. I keep saying, okay, well, let me figure it out. But how do we engage those that aren't? And what you're saying is, the statistic, like you said, is because they were asked.
Yeah.
We really have to ask. I know I sometimes make an assumption, oh, you've joined, well, you'll figure it out, but you really need to make that extra effort sometimes. And some people don't need to, like me. You don't need to ask, I'll just do it.
That's what we run into with our club, is we don't mentor our new members very well as often as we should have. And I'm really been trying to be better about that.
Yeah. Well, all this has been great communication. I appreciate you guys' time. So I'm gonna close it down, but I'm going to go around the table here and see if anybody's got any last minute comments. I'll start with Diane, Nick, Michael, and Shane. Diane?
I'm actually good. Glad I was able to make it, that I got the right timing.
Well, I'm glad that I finally got a distribution out there that didn't get hacked or hiked or something. So if you don't got the one for the 28th, let me know. I'll resend, but I think everybody was on distribution.
I did get it. Yes.
Well, see, I was early. I usually miss these things, or I'm late. So I called up Russ and said, "Are we meeting?" He said, "You're half an hour early." So I was early, but no, I think we're on the right track. I really like the way this is going, and I think this is the perfect time to do it. President Mark is certainly wanting to make a big push, and I think for us to step up with this idea is the perfect time, and I think it'll certainly make him happy. So I've got some other ideas for us, which are bouncing around in my head, and when I get them put together, I'll give you a buzz and bounce them off of you and see what you think, and then if we can move ahead, we can move ahead on those too.
All right, Michael.
Yes, thank you. Hey, I just want to say, I know I haven't been on in a while, but thanks. It is always a lot of fun talking to you guys. I want to say that I'm very proud to say that our executive director on our Facebook page, I don't know if I should be proud or not. I was the only person, to ask her to join a club.
Oh. Did she join? She hasn't.
She didn't respond at all. But I told her, I said, you're moving from New York. You don't want to live down there. You want to live, I don't know, about 30, 40 miles south of, and commute in. It's an easy drive. And by the way, if you happen to be in the Arnold Imperial area, I happen to know there's a great club.
I got to tell you, that's a truth, man. We had a member. I think I might have said a member's wife who he was a member for 50 years, and he didn't, and his wife didn't join till, I don't know, the 35, 40 years into it, because nobody asked her, not even
Nobody
him.
asked. Yep.
All
It's the Dwayne Gretzky line. You miss 100% of the shots you never take.
Yeah.
That's right.
Jane, any follow up?
If my favorite one, if you never ask, the answer is always no. No, I'm just excited. Like I said, I'm excited to, this is like people always say, we're a member driven organization. We use our experiences and things come from the membership to make our stuff grow. And I just think that if we can get people to, get re-involved and get their friend out after all the stuff that was going through with this whole pandemic, and get them re-involved too. What you're passionate about doing this, it'll strengthen our organization and hopefully start to grow a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, I got one last thing. I'm sorry I failed you guys on all the great videos that I had. I really,
That was just because somebody was not an honest person. I'm still a little pissed off about that.
yeah. But, I do appreciate everything you guys are doing. You have made a difference, no matter whether we know it or not, or whether we see it or not. You make a difference in everything you do. And and we appreciate it. So I want to thank you for your time. And let's, Shane, Michael, when you need us, let us know. I'll get this recording out to the rest of the team. Hopefully they'll want to get engaged and give you a call and continue to come up with some great ideas. And we'll just keep on going, right? We won't quit till the dinner's served and we ate it. Michael, one last thing.
Oh, sorry. I just, it popped in. How do you Optimist? That's our key. That's what we're going to ask them. We call them up. How do you Optimist? How do you do it?
How do you Optimist?
How do you Optimist? I Optimist by doing horse, horse therapy.
Yeah.
That's how I do it. And that's your end. That's your end. How do you Optimist?
Huh.
You ask them right from the get-go. Who are you? What do you do? What do you want to do? In that one phrase. How do you Optimist? And you're also selling the brand.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you guys, and y'all be good. I know it takes a lot of time out of your schedule, but really what we're doing is for the greater good, and it's appreciated, if not here on earth, up in heaven. So we'll see you guys.
All right. See you.